Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. I wanted to give you a nice visual representation of what we're going to be creating in terms of a three-point perspective, in a two-dimensional world. But I want you to understand a little bit better how a photographic lens deals with this, or especially when it comes to various focal lengths. Now, as you can see here in the 3D program, our horizon line represents the camera where it's being placed, and of course our vanishing points are being redrawn on the fly, which is why we're seeing this three-dimensional transition. So as vanishing points are being redrawn on the fly, and then the buildings are being redrawn and placed accordingly. Okay. All right. So let's get a stronger understanding about how focal length works. Now, currently I'm in 25 millimeter. Let's go to something like a 15 millimeter point of view. As you can see, what has just happened is that your buildings in the background have been pushed further away from your buildings in the foreground. If I jump right inside, you can also see that we have a lot more space around that we can see. We have, because our focal length is so wide, our field of view is so wide, we can see buildings right next to the side of our camera. Okay. All right. So how about if we go to a stronger point of view? Let's pull the camera back just a little bit. And let's go to something closer to that of a 50 millimeter lens. I'm going to type in 50. And we can see right over here, we have a 50 millimeter lens. The foreground objects and the background objects are being pulled closer together. Well, I guess a better way to explain is that your background objects are being pulled in closer to your foreground objects, thus flattening out the scene a little bit. Okay, so if I pull back a little bit, you notice that we don't have as much space inside to actually view through. But as I pull back here, you can see how the background objects are getting a little bit more dynamic, or in taking up space in relationship to the foreground buildings. Now let's go something extreme. Let's go to 100 millimeters. Type that one on in, and you can see even here. And I'll look at the tops of your buildings, how they start to flatten out more. All right. So as I bring the camera upward, where the horizon line is probably right about here. And we know that because we're starting to flatten out up here at the building, okay? And let's go ahead and pull this on back so we can see the overall view. All right, so this should give you a fairly good example of how different focal lengths are going to affect our scene. If I bring the camera upward, we're going to get more of that bird's eye view as the horizon line and the vanishing points are being redrawn on the fly. Or if we can come down below the building where our horizon lines being brought down below, so that means we're going to see the buildings from an upward point of view. All right, so let's get in the Photoshop and let's learn how to recreate a more of a telephoto view utilizing a three-point perspective.